A man accused of shooting a Jacksonville police officer back in court today for the second time this week. Good evening and thank you for being with us.
Bobby Dennis faced an arraignment via Zoom today after he was escorted out of the courtroom on Wednesday. KTV7's J.D. Conti was there today as both sides worked to get the case moving forward.
Bobby Dennis faced a Cherokee County judge for the second time this week. On Wednesday, Dennis was immediately escorted out when he began yelling. He appeared via Zoom today, but it wasn't very different. For most of the arraignment hearing, Dennis was talking into the camera, even when he was muted. Dennis is charged with attempted capital murder of a peace officer. He's accused of shooting Jacksonville police officer Elise Hand and her K-9 officer last November. He was arrested after an intensive 4-day manhunt. Dennis believes he's a sovereign citizen, someone who believes the government doesn't have authority over them.
He believes that he is being held illegally, and that he feels like he participates in any of the process, that would be somehow be a waiver of his rights.
Stephen Shires is Dennis's attorney. Dennis has been ruled competent to stand trial after 2 psychologist reports found him sound.
It doesn't make you incompetent because you hold those beliefs.
In court today, Shires entered a not guilty plea on Dennis's behalf. Dennis continued to protest as his indictments were read. Shires says he's willing to argue Dennis's beliefs, but he's not been cooperative.
Mr. Dennis objects to the jurisdiction of the United States, the state of Texas, and this court over him. Subject to that objection, Mr. not guilty.
Dennis's trial is set for January. It's unclear how the court will get Dennis to cooperate. Shires says there are extreme precedents, but they hope to avoid those.
A person can be bound or even gagged. The courts recognize that can be done, but it's of the last resort.
J.D. Conti, KTV7 News.
Now, Dennis also faces a federal firearms charge for having a firearm while being a convicted felon and 2 obstruction charges from before the